mean, the Transformers have turned into. No, they haven't turned into weirder things. That actually is the weirdest thing potentially.
I saw a Transformers Jesus figure the other day.
What?
It was like Christ on the crucifix, but then like the crucifix like transforms around him into he just like turns into this like mecha Jesus. I fucking should have saved it so I could share it with you guys.
Wow.
I might.
Yeah, that's how you get Jesus hip to the new times.
Oh yeah, the kids are into these Transformers. Let's get them into Jesus.
Transform yourself for Christ.
I feel like it's kind of like Bible Man. It's like, oh, kids are into the Batman. Let's make a Bible version.
Let's have the arch enemy of Bible Man be a scientist, because all science is evil. So welcome to Undercooked Analysis, where we are transforming people's stories that they sent us into the same thing, just with critique attached to it. I'm your host, David King. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Kaela King.
Hello.
My wonderful co-host, Seid.
Hello.
And I can't think of another euphemism, but wonderful co-host, Paprika.
Hi. How's it going?
We're all wonderful. If that's what you want to know.
And I think to myself,
it's wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, so wonderful, my love. Anyway. Yeah, you didn't come to this podcast to hear us sing.
That's for something else.
Oh, yeah.
That is for something else.
I don't know what yet.
That's for your new line of singing fleshlights.
When we live stream karaoke, I don't know.
Oh my God, yes.
I don't think I have the nerve
live
to do that. I could
karaoke?
I could sing in front of you guys in like a private room if we like did a karaoke.
Is that not? Are you not just describing what TikTok is?
TikTok is like karaoke in a room, but the room is facing the entire world.
That
TikTok is maybe a little more than that, and I don't know if I could condense what TikTok is.
I still don't.
Being the only one in this conversation who is on TikTok.
Gang.
Hey, if you're on TikTok, follow me. Dead Insane.
Dead Insane. Gang, I'm an old man and I barely understand what the kids are into these days. So I don't understand what the TikToks are.
Yeah, I fear some of the things that Seid shares.
I'm afraid every time I click a link that Seid shares that has TikTok in it, Chinese bots are going to invade my brain. So
Are you an old man or
I'm an old man who's also a conspiracy theorist.
I was gonna say
that's my character. You have to let me yes, and
I mean, we're all vaccinated, so we already have monitoring chips inside us, apparently.
Yeah, that's
right. Oh yeah, controlled by 5G cell towers.
Yep. We're next to androids at this point.
That's why I get really good service.
Remember, supposedly like in the 70s when barcodes came out, a bunch of Christians were freaking out because they thought, oh, it's the number of the beast.
666 is
right.
all barcodes.
Yeah, well, because it's believed that barcode, like it says in Revelations, that there's supposed to be you're supposed to get the mark of the beast, which is the only way you'll be able to purchase anything.
Okay.
It's something along those lines, but there's also a thing about barcodes where they actually use the number 666 as delimiters on them or something. So put two and two together and it equals end times.
When did they first start implementing? We're wandering pretty far.
The 70s.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s. Yeah.
Okay.
I do feel like the 70s was when a lot of things started to go downhill, but I mean, that's probably a conversation for another day, and one that I think Evan should be a part of.
Woodstock was at the end of the 60s. So.
Yes, it was.
Well, keep in mind the 70s was also when we had the satanic panic around, everything, but especially Dungeons and Dragons.
Which is
a lot of moral quandaries in the 70s.
There's a movie called Mazes and Monsters, and it basically is about satanic panic, but it has Tom Hanks as the main character. It's amazing. I need to rewatch that.
Speaking of well, I don't know where you want to put this, but my mother once threw holy water on my brother for playing D&D.
Really?
Yeah. So that was a pretty great moment.
Where'd she get some holy water?
Are you kidding, my mom? She buys it. She makes rosaries every other week.
I had no idea, but now I know that your mom buys holy water using a barcode that has the number of the beast.
Absolutely.
You know what? Okay, if you're buying holy water, you know those little wafers that they give you during communion? I almost bought a box off of Amazon the other day, and I still want to, just to like
unblessed.
snack on.
I mean, would you just eat them like out of a box? Because those things are good. I would just
eat them because every time my mother,
they look like tasty crackers.
They are tasty crackers.
They're strangely tasty. And
communion
they're
wafers.
like the wafers inside of candy bars.
But like less sweet, but still good.
Question. You all grew up Catholic, if I recall.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I didn't have communion wafers because I grew up Protestant. So I cannot tell you what communion wafers taste like. I probably had them.
I should give you ones if I ever get. Well, okay, let's buy a box.
When you guys visit me, I'll have a box. We'll snack on them with like everything else that we're doing, and
along with Pocky and what else? And donuts shaped like voodoo dolls.
We're not gonna bother with fucking voodoo donuts. All right.
I guess the most important thing is when you buy them, I assume they're unblessed, right?
Yes. Well, that transubstantiation occurs literally during Mass.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
So if you just buy a box of the wafers, you're not like just buying a big old box of Jesus to eat.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Does anything happen during the hour in which you're in church?
Good point. I mean, depends on who you are.
I remember sitting in church and just daydreaming the most explicit like fanfics in my head of just like Naraku devastating Inuyasha or some shit like that, whatever I was into when I was in high school. Just because out of spite of having to go to church, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just the most problematic shit in my head the entire time.
See, I decided I doodled because I was bored as fuck.
Oh, you got to doodle? Lucky you.
Well, here's the thing. They would have, you know how they have those pencils that like the small pencils, and then the envelopes
to write down, how much you're donating to the church.
Yeah, I would just start doodling on that. But in order to not quote unquote get in trouble, I would just start making 3D versions of the cross just because I thought I was practicing 3D at the time just for fun. And my mom would look and when she saw what I was drawing, she's like, well, I can't get mad at that. I mean, she's drawing Christian shit. So.
Well, Seid, would you agree that Catholic masses are the most boring of all time, of all of anything?
Yes.
I don't think I've experienced any other type of like mass to really compare it to, but in my memory, I remember them being boring as fuck.
I'm with you.
Well, my aunt is Lutheran, and I've gone to a few like evangelical and a few other things. So I heavily would say that that's the case. Strongly agree.
You would say so. I've only been to one Catholic service, and it was an Easter service, weirdly enough. And I hope Oxygen Thief, whose story we're going to be reading later, by the way,
we finally get around to it.
Is not extremely Catholic.
Or well, is it?
I mean, if religion is your thing, like cool. It's just not for us.
We're not knocking. We're not knocking.
No.
Like
I have actually
any of that. We're not like.
This has been our own personal experience.
I've been an agnostic for a very very long time. So
and then not only that, we have a few friends who are Christian, awesome people. I love them. It's just not for me, and they're fine with it just as we're fine with it. So, but I've only been to one anyway. I've been to one in Catholic service, and from what I gathered, you guys have prettier churches. There's a lot more singing. Like I am shocked how much singing.
It ain't
happens.
good singing though.
No.
Depends on what church you go to.
Depends on the
But I've seen some awful, whatever bullshit instrument they have in the back, like little old lady or young child or whatever, literally whatever they have available. Yeah. So there's nothing. It's just literally they probably asked people to go up and sing the same way they asked people to bring the Eucharist up.
The ones that I would go to
or the wine or whatever, but yeah, sorry.
They would have everybody singing, so everyone attending would be singing along, and like you could always hear when like a majority of the people didn't actually know the words and were just kind of trying to fake it, because I was one of them.
Yeah.
So no, just all around. The only highlight was really getting that damn little wafer cracker.
Was that a highlight?
That was the only highlight.
Okay.
I yeah, that's
my
my
highlight
experience.
was getting to drink wine.
I didn't like the taste of it.
Okay.
See,
I think I was still too young.
We didn't.
I would
have
pretend.
wine.
I wouldn't sip it. I would pretend to.
Okay.
You go.
I know.
I didn't like it.
See, we didn't get wine or crackers or anything like that. We just went in, we sang, we sat there during a sermon for like whatever it is. It felt like 5 hours. It was only an hour probably. And then more singing, and then we left and then went to like Denny's or something.
Actually, yeah, the highlight was after it was over, because in our area, it's got a large Hispanic community who would go to the services that we would go to. And so when it was over and everyone was coming out, there would usually be someone selling like elotes outside of the church. So like, I'd be like, hey, I was good. Can I have one, please? And that was the highlight. I fucking love elotes.
We probably should get to reading.
Yeah, we should get started.
But you're triggering us.
We're digging up some like deep memories here and like of everything that happened, and I think I want to sum it up with, there's a line from Dogma that I remember specifically where it's like people don't go to church to worship anymore, they go to feel bored.
So yeah, that's like something George Carlin would say, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a very Carlin kind of thing to say. In this case, it's being said by an angel in disguise to a woman who eventually learns that she's the kind of sort of the second coming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I enjoy Dogma as a movie, but
yeah,
it does have.
She's the great.
Now we're on to Dogma, everyone.
All right, it is kind of blasphemous, but like it's done in a humorous way.
It's interesting. Anyway, so Oxygen Thief has sent us a story. And they write, this might be the 11th draft of a story bouncing around in my head for the past 4 years. This demon needs to finally be expelled from my soul. So please do with it what you will. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, it's a demon and that we're expelling. This really is a religious episode.
We're performing an exorcism for Oxygen Thief. Now, we've read quite a few Oxygen Thief stories at this point. We know and respect their work. And I always look forward to reading these stories because they tend to be pretty interesting. But we're also here to critique, so no mercy.
What order should we do this in?
How about the most religious person first?
Okay. Or actually, you guys are. I'm trying to figure out. Okay,
the person who's most recently seen Dogma.
Oh,
it's not me though.
Remember the last time I saw
I can't either.
Yeah, that's been a while.
I got an idea. Let's go. Well, Protestant, then Catholic. So Kaela starts.
Actually, what type of Catholic are you? There you go. What type of Catholic?
I don't know.
Roman Catholic?
Roman. I don't know. I didn't know if there was a type of Catholics.
You're
Roman
my type of Catholic.
Yeah.
We're you can tell we're all former Catholics. We're all pretty bad Catholics.
Yeah, I'm a the problem is I'm not a former Catholic. I'm a former Protestant.
I'm saying in the case of us Catholic or former Catholics.
Okay, fine. Okay. I'll start it then.
How about the amount? How about the amount in which we look down on Protestants?
Oh my God!
How much do you look down upon me?
How badly?
I think I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'm kidding. Okay, well, I'll go first. Why not?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Esther, named after my mother's favorite story in the Bible.
Oh my fucking Christ!
We did not plan that. And I grew up along the countryside of central Arkansas. I won't say the name of the place I'm from, but it was very small, very conservative, and so very patriotic that it bordered on nationalism.
Okay, so Columbia. Sky City.
Will the circle be unbroken?
I'm going to say Seid goes next.
Growing up on a farm 45 minutes from town, with the nearest neighbor a mile away, left me with early memories completely devoid of other people besides my parents. The fields being gently touched by gray mist at the crack of dawn. The The intricate craft of I almost said cowboys.
The intricate craft of
cowboys. Sorry, I ruined it.
The intricate craft. No, it's okay. I'm also trying to juggle my cat from not stepping all over my desk. The intricate craft of cobwebs in the decaying fence my grandfather had built decades ago. The sudden sight of a new baby calf among the cattle with the curious little jump in its step. Noticing for the first time that there's dancing spots of light on the pages of your coloring book, so you look up to recognize the ancient and monstrous oak tree that was always there in your backyard.
God, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things, yes.
I like the way they're described. It's like there was cobwebs in the fence. There was a baby cow. There was a tree. It's very.
This is actually really well written.
Don't surprise me too much. Your turn, Kaela.
Oh, you're letting the dirty Protestant go first? Okay.
Yes. That's how much we look down on you.
Nice. Mom told me that when she was pregnant, she used to sit on a long chair beside the tree and read. She also said I took my first steps on the soft grass by its roots, while she and Dad were cheering me on. I leaned on the trunk for leverage when I achieved my first little victory. It was my dedicated play area from time on, but it wasn't until I was about 7 that I noticed how imposing it really was.
So this is going to be, did we say this title of the story, which was Inheritance?
Yeah, and I don't think we did. It's titled Inheritance.
Or maybe it was one during Choice Drags.
Maybe it was, but just to clarify, this story is titled Inheritance. So we have a tree. I feel pretty good about this so far.
It does create the vibe of being in a what's the word?
In Central Arkansas.
Well, no, but there's so like there's suburban neighborhoods or cities. This is in a
rural
area. There we go.
Yeah,
I feel like this captures the rural feel very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you
Somewhere
there.
with sprawling fields of grass and wheat and corn and big oak trees to divide them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of oak trees, a 70-foot monster that had been there long before my grandparents built a house in the 1940s. The black oak tree was something that stood out in my mind as part of us. It was like the rocking chair in the living room where Dad played guitar, or Mom's sunflower patterned oven mitts hung side by side above the kitchen sink. It was just something in my life that I could walk past, take for granted, and allow to gather dust in the back of my head during my self-obsessed adolescence. A 70-foot, that's
huge.
A big tree.
That's a big tree.
It's a big tree.
It's a big, yeah.
Yeah. When I had no friends because I couldn't make any at school, I spent so much time by that tree. My dad made a swing for me. So I went from coloring books to picture books to countless YA novels with the gentle wind, while the gentle wind rocked me. I looked up, always had to look up to see those powerful winding branches, and I would imagine someone sitting up there with me. They would promise to take me away from my tiny town, my tiny family, my tiny fears of what I felt when I saw pretty girls on TV.
Oh, that's deep.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Damn.
Okay.
Tiny with respect to the tree itself, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh my god.
I like this very much so far.
Yeah.
The tree is basically tell her be gay, do crime.
Oh, happy Pride, everyone.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
When I was 14 with a sinus infection and sitting at home for a few days, I still sat on the swing in Arkansas.
Yes.
Sorry. I've actually never seen that written.
Yeah.
So I want to say Arkansas when I read it.
Well, yeah. Hey.
Arkansas. All right. I still sat on the swing in I still sat on that swing in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I close my eyes.
English is the worst language.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, look at how many people fuck up Oregon. Like, God.
Or it's pronounced organ, right?
No, it's
Yeah,
Oregon.
you even just said Oregon.
No, it's Oregon.
Oregon.
It's Oregon. Oregon.
Oregon. I still sat on that swing in Arkansas humidity, watching Dad do yard work. I got up and walked to the trunk where I noticed a string of orange fungus along the bark, and I spent a long time scraping it away with my fingernails until Mom came out to stop me. She made me lunch and treated the scraping on my fingertips. And that night I had a nightmare of breaking my leg from falling off that swing. I never dream, so I still remember it.
Ooh, this is getting interesting.
I gotta walk to the trunk where I noticed a string of orange fungus on.
So she just got up and just started scratching at it for a while. It feels like almost a hypnotic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
When I was 17, I made a chance connection. Something weird about growing up Christian in a largely Christian community is that sometimes kids at school who are trying to distance themselves from religion will assume you're bigoted, which I couldn't really blame them for. I've never known if I really believe in God or not, but Cynthia accidentally came out during a heated debate about gay rights in class one day. Later on, I found her crying underneath the bleachers where I knelt beside her in the wet dirt to give her a hug. She was surprised at my empathy. We hugged for a long time there, and for a few months, we hugged against the trunk of the oak tree, staring in the woods where the whispers of our secrets became wind chill. Oh my, this is so well written. Oh my God.
Oxygen Thief, write us looking for critique, and here's the critique. This is beautiful so far. I love it.
It's like a sepia toned story, huh?
Yeah, it really is. Except it's gay.
Make it sepia tone and gay. Actually,
how do you make it both sepia tone and gay?
This is giving me good book. This is a good book, by the way. The Miseducation of Cameron Post. I know it's a movie, but I did read the book. It has the same kind of feel, where it's most of the book actually takes place in this young girl's rural town and her realizing she's gay while growing up in high school and trying to figure out how to handle that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, because of the movie, they think it's just about her going to gay conversion camp, but that's only like a fourth of it. So
okay.
I do recommend the book. It's a very good book. There's some people who have said it's kind of boring because they expect just the conversion camp, but
it's kind of nice that it's not all just the, that would be kind of heartbreaking, honestly. Mm-hmm. It was there for me. It learned things about me no one else could know, would ever know. And every emotion of want or question of escapism I felt, it also felt deep within its roots. It never cared and it never judged. What would something so ancient gain from judgment anyway? It's like, this is like the Giving Tree, but if the Giving Tree had a weird psychic connection with
this Gaby.
Yeah.
I know, I was looking back, sorry.
No, that's all right.
So I didn't actually pick up on that. So when tiny fears of what I felt when I saw Pretty Girls on TV, and the narrator is a girl.
Yes.
Right. I didn't pick up on that.
Esther. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to forget where you come from, though. Too easy. I worked so hard in school for that scholarship, to work so hard to get the fuck out of there and to get to the city where I could get a degree in something. I just wanted something different. My parents were okay with it too. As long as I called and visited them, they were content letting me live my life until they were old and I could take care of the house I was born in.
Okay.
That's pretty relatable for a lot of kids who grow up queer, wanting to get away from home.
Hashtag relatable.
Their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was 22, they both died in their sleep.
Jesus.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It took a week for anyone to find them, and it turned out to be poor Miss Collins. She was an old woman who had gone to the same church with us for years, and she had arrived at my folks' place to get back something she let my mom borrow. The door was unlocked, and Miss Collins' worst trait was how nosy she was. So she came into our house to find my parents dead in their bed, the bed I was born in.
You know, it's interesting. They use the word poor Miss Collins to describe her, poor Mrs. Collins, and now I do feel kind of like sad for her.
Yeah,
it's a good description so far.
Well, it'd be horror. I mean, it's one thing walking in to find two corpses. It's another thing to walk in and find two corpses that have been dead for a week. That's something else too. So without even having to say too much.
Was it a week?
It said a week, yeah.
It took a week for anyone to find them. They died in their sleep. What's really interesting is that the continual emphasis on just how like connected to this place, like all this is. They died in the bed that, you know, because they clearly had a home birth in that case too for Esther. And yeah, this is all grounded in like very old conditions and roots going back, and here this big tree representing so much of that, but also the change. Oh, again, maybe I'm reading too much into it, too far ahead.
Nothing about it was hard. I had been taken back to that town by the ankles, but it wasn't hard. My girlfriend at the time ghosted me when I told her the news, why I had to leave college, but that wasn't hard either because her silence was all I needed to know. That's shitty.
Aww.
That's a shitty thing.
Did she have to leave college? I mean, like entirely?
Well, I mean, if both your parents have died,
it would probably, if both your parents have died and you're the only person who can take care of things like the funeral and whatnot, then you'd probably have to at least
take a week or
break.
2. Mm-hmm. Maybe a month, and a month is hard when you're in the middle of a semester, so I imagine you take the semester off.
Yeah. Well, it also could be cost wise too. Maybe she can't afford.
Right. Okay. Sorry. That's yeah. Okay.
You have to handle that. Yeah.
The hard part was not being able to feel the sunshine, the coin toss between numbness and piercing, ear-drilling anxiety over the truth of never seeing my parents again. I lost sleep trying to remember what their last "I love you" sounded like.
Oh,
that fucking hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember anything from the funeral or the wake, really. It was all just white noise and moving shapes of black who spoke comfort to me in a language I no longer understood. My brain started filming again when I was standing at the kitchen sink, looking out the window at the only family I had left. As usual, it was tall and proud without any droop in its posture. It's that tree again.
My knuckles hurt as I cracked them. To stop that, I tried gripping the fabric of my black dress. Even though the barrier between my fingers and palms, sorry guys.
It's all right.
But even with the barrier between my fingers and palms, it just hurt some more. All the tears I should have cried for the past 2 weeks came down so fast that it hurt too. My eyes literally ached. The light of the kitchen mixing with the black of the night and the shape of the oak tree until my vision was as muddled as my sense of time. Blinking until I had a moment of clarity, I saw Mom's oven mitts hung on the wall with those faded sunflowers.
Ooh, good callback. Yes.
Enough, I thought, not knowing what I was done with exactly. Without putting on any shoes, I walked out to the shed for my dad's old axe, and I saw my skeletal shadow stomping along the light spilling out from the kitchen. The grass was wet and warm, but little sharp things still caught on my feet before I stopped, holding the axe at the ready until my muscles caught right there, and I was just staring.
There wasn't any sound in my ears besides the air passing through my nostrils, but I swear I could have heard the twitching nerves in my eyes as they tried to find a good spot. Without compulsion burning my blood, I raised the axe over my shoulder before bringing it down as hard as I could without breaking my wrist on impact.
The gust of birds escaping the forest drowned out the chunky sound of metal hitting wood. In less than a second, the axe was no longer in my hands as I fell on the ground, getting more of those little sharp things embedded in my arms and legs. The whole world seized into nothing but spasms and jolts and a loud buzz echoing from my skull to the horizon. It was the most terrible and the most exciting thing I'd experienced in my life. Okay, this is interesting. What is going on here?
So I think she's trying to chop down the tree.
Right. She's trying to chop down the tree. Why though?
Because she's angry and she sees it. And I can't tell exactly, but it's interesting because she describes night and there's like a kind of like a movement out of the sepia tone adjectives, descriptors into like horror descriptors, like black and shadow and muddled vision and things like that. Faded sunflowers, pain from whatever these little sharp things are, but I imagine it could be any, like the whatever they're called, the little seedling balls,
those little specky balls. Yeah, I think just maybe the reasoning for trying to cut the tree down right now, we're just making the assumption that it's the tree that she's trying to cut down, but if it's been like, if it was present there her entire growing up, it kind of symbolizes everything that kind of connects her to that place.
Mhm.
Like she herself is rooted in that place. Like
Yeah,
that
her deep
tree
roots.
is,
Okay.
and like maybe wanting to cut it down is like just the desire to like cut herself off from it.
Yeah,
so that
but
she
how
doesn't-
big is it again? It's 70-foot
It's 70
tree?
feet. Yeah, you're not gonna.
How thick do you think the trunk is? It's probably like as thick as a room.
One that is also like, even if you could get through that, where you're not going to control where it's going to go down.
That would probably take like a month of chopping it with like a fire axe
Yeah.
to get a tree like that down. I don't really know though. It's my turn, right?
Yeah, I think.
As my senses came back one by one, I noticed the pain ebbing from my right foot. Lifting myself onto my hands was the hardest thing for me to do, but I managed to look over my shoulder and peek at the dark fluid pumping from an ugly bend in my ankle.
Uh-oh.
Yikes.
So she hurt her ankle when she tried to cut down the tree.
Well, she and the tree are deeply connected. That's one thing. If you want to look at it from on a surface level, or what some of the implications are. She tried to leave that life behind, but she couldn't. So they dragged her back, and then
I couldn't scream, so my body shook violently as the pain grew and grew. But the injury did all the screaming for me as I pathetically tried to crawl back to my house. I was thinking of the spot where I left my phone, waiting for me a million miles away in the coffee table.
Oof, yeah.
Wait, in the coffee table?
Yeah,
it says in the coffee table. I think, yeah.
First mistake.
Yeah, that's the only mistake I found. I think it's
0 to 10. No.
It should be on the coffee table, but this is the first mistake.
That one right there is an autocorrect because I know my phone always wants to change on to in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to fault them for that one.
No.
No, she only gets this injury though, interestingly, after she tries to axe the tree. So,
so you could make a couple of logic jumps here, right? That she's cosmically connected to the tree is one. That she has no idea how to use an axe. It jumped out of her hand and it hit her ankle is two.
What is she?
Or the force of the impact kind of came back at her and she fell and like fucked up her ankle.
That's how angry she was.
Mm-hmm. It's good. I'm still good. I just think it's fun to like discuss it.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, I think Esther's trying to make her way back to the coffee table.
After crawling and groveling for minutes on end, I called an ambulance, which I knew with terror would take longer to get there due to how far out I was. But I waited on my living room floor, trying and failing to think about anything else but the pain, which at that point had become so unbearable that I actually wanted to die. Even with the fire of panic and agony setting me ablaze, some of the tears I shed weren't for my suffering, but for the comforting fantasy that I might see my parents again that night. Oh, wow. Jesus.
Yeah, she's just conflicted all over. The hospital came and went. Just lots of bandages, bills, and questions that I couldn't answer. Eventually, I was in my kitchen again on some crutches, forcing myself to stare out that window.
Just so I could be sure, just so I could tell myself in full confidence that I wasn't crazy. I squinted my eyes and saw the scar I left on the bark. A couple feet from the trunk, there was the axe too.
A lot of things flashed through my mind. A lot of ways of my life could get exceedingly fucked up if I sold the house and abandoned that place. In our little standoff, I felt both in control and helpless, both damaged and smoothed. Maybe soothed? Both vicious.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that might have been soothed. Both vicious and sound of mine while it looked so uncaring in the middle of that cloudy day. I cursed it, hoping the sun would never shine again so that it starved to death.
I grinned when that idea firmly cemented in my mind. Right then, I knew what I could do. If it wanted to trap me, then it was trapped with me too.
And that's the end.
I wonder what that. I don't know what that means. I guess that means she's staying.
I think it's the idea that like basically the tree is kind of keeping her trapped there because if she sells that, I think that
if anything happens to the tree,
like
something happens to her too.
Yeah. So it is a cosmic connection then.
But
I think it extends back to her family too, though.
Yeah, like I think her family's. I don't know what would have happened, what could have caused.
This is a premise for a novel right here.
Yeah, I almost feel like what happens here is like it's not really an ending. It doesn't need to be, but you're doing that thing again, Oxygen Thief, where I feel like I want more.
Yeah, I know.
But at the same time, I think it's.
Is he robbing you of oxygen?
Huh.
I think is Octagon the female?
I'm not
I'm not
actually
I
sure.
know they've told us, and I know this, but I'm forgetting right now, and I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I think it's Oxygen Thief is a she, but
Okay.
for now I'll just say they just for safety. But yeah, I think it also like maybe they died out of the blue too, like in their sleep, no reasoning. It could have been connected to the tree as well. Like something might have happened to the tree. Does it say like branches fell or anything like that?
No.
Oh man.
We're not given any explanation. I feel like we might be reaching a bit in assuming that the parent's death is connected.
It might not be.
But
Yeah.
she's clearly connected to the tree. And if she does sell it, then whoever owns it.
Remember when she scratched at the fungus too? That's like a
maybe
I was thinking about the fungus because anytime like fungus is brought up in any kind of horror story, I immediately suspect it because I am scared of mold, so I don't trust it. That could be that created the connection. Or maybe it's the fungus. She's connected to the fungus, and the tree is also connected to the fungus.
Well, the orange at that time. Remember, she had a sinus infection. And maybe the orange fungus might be like is like a sign that it was quote unquote getting a sinus infection as well.
Oh, interesting.
But I mean, like she was just scratching at it, and immediately her mom freaked out.
Well, yeah, because she was playing in with pus, and I mean that's how your kid gets sick.
That's okay.
And she's an only child.
But maybe there was a bit bigger reason for it as well.
Well, what I was gonna say was maybe her parents sold her firstborn child to the tree to buy a house or something.
Maybe.
She had scraping on her fingertips too after that. And then that night she had the dream about breaking her leg after falling off a swing.
Oh.
Nightmare. Then never had a dream again. There's some deep stuff here that I really like, but it's all like unanswerable and you can just do speculation. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think that this is more a story about sort of like this weird exploratory thing about emotion, and it's a character piece, and I like it.
And it also there's that whole thing about you could take the girl out of the town, but you can't take the town out of the girl. And there is it is true. There's a lot of people who are that do get afraid. Like, am I going to be stuck in this small town forever? Am I never going to leave? And this. Mm-hmm. I think like the tree kind of also represents that. Like now she really is stuck there. She can't.
This story kind of sounds like a poem to me, and it's got a poetic quality in the word usage and structure. I guess how open-ended it is. It's meant to be retrospective. I just wish, and maybe this is like a wanting something I shouldn't get kind of thing. But I wish it just had some sort of. It gave me what it was getting at a little bit better.
I think that might be a little bit more with your personality, because I love that you always have like so many questions at the end of a story or a movie or whatever we're looking at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you're the kind of person who I need to know. I need you to confirm this.
I need you to tell me.
Yeah.
Are there aliens? Are trees alive? No.
But I like that this story, it gives you these intricate details, but it doesn't fully tell you how it's connected. Mm-hmm. It's very much that you don't need to know everything, and that's what like leaves you so enticed. I like but at the speculation.
At the end of a poem, you're left with a reason why you might reread the poem or need to think. And I mean, in this last line, it says, "If it wanted to trap me, then it was trapped with me too." And I guess that's more about the narrator than the reader. That's but that's just a way one could read this.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a way, like basically then this narrator Esther is trying to find a way that like I am connected to the tree, and we're looking up early on, and it actually says early on it was there for me. I'm
rereading that paragraph, and what I'm thinking is there's another angle you could explore is what if the tree and her were connected, and then when she left, the tree in a way wanted to bring her back.
Yeah. But she wants to keep control too. So it's she's trying to find a way to, I don't know. Like, I think she's trying to find a way to like, basically say, okay, this tree isn't, if I'm going down, this tree's going down with me. or
for whatever decision that is, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which we don't know what it is. We don't know what.
I guess, okay, so we get the story about a small town girl growing up, in an abrasive community against her self-identity. We get the story about needing to come back. We get the story about deep roots, but this whole trapping element, what's hashtag relatable about that?
Well, I mean, there's that idea that she, in a weird way, she couldn't get away from the town where she grew up, like metaphorically, like, and in the end, even though she wanted to get away, she was going to come back anyway, because she was going to take care of the house when her parents got old, and they kind of made her promise to do that. It's kind of like that weird idea that, like, I think it's like you can't, I don't know, it feels like, you can, but also can't go home again. I don't know. There's a lot there's definitely a lot you could read into this, and I'm not sure. I think we are supposed to draw our own conclusions, but again, I just, if there's something specific Oxygen Thief is going for here, then, that's the joy of reader response theory and stories like this anyways, that
it sounds amazing.
The takeaway is how we see the story and what we interpret with the story. And there's no real empirical meaning for fiction anyway, in my opinion. It's just, did you read it? Did you like it? That's one of my favorite English professors was just like, I don't care about all this other stuff. I just want to know. And he had that accent because he was from Hampshire. He said, I want to know, did you read it? Did you like it? And he would always say it like that.
In all honesty, I think it's a really good story. I do want more, but as a story on its own, it's not like it's not something where it's like, oh, there should be more. It's more, I just want more.
Yeah.
If there was more,
exactly.
I want it. Like, if there was more, I want to keep reading.
If there were like 50 more pages, I'd probably read it.
Yeah. But like, if on its own, it's still good. As a short story, it's still really good. Like I don't like, if this was all it is, it's still great. It still evokes something that is quote unquote hashtag relatable, and offers an interesting idea that is symbolic. And I mean, I enjoyed this read. I think it was really well written.
Very capturing. Enthralling.
That's beautiful. Enthralling. Much like this, the tree and Esther are enthralled with each other. Hey-oh! You want to give it some freshness ratings, gang?
I will give it the entire giving tree.
Stumping all?
Just stumping everything. Yep. Down to every single root.
I will give this 70 feet of tree out of 70 acres of property.
I'm trying to think. I will give this, I don't know. I'm
not going to give this story anything because it needs to give me 50 more pages.
I'll give this hashtag Pride Month out of hashtag relatable. Out of hashtag home is where the heart is.
Oh my God. Winky face.
Winky face.
All right. Thank you again, Oxygen Thief, for submitting this story. If you'd like to have your story read on Undercooked Analysis and have a huge preamble about religion beforehand, you can email your stories to midnightmarinara@gmail.com, where we will take them, add them to our queue, and eventually get around to them, if that kind of critique. I should mention that Oxygen Thief is one of our regular patrons. And as a result, patrons do get priority when it comes to stories. So that's one thing. You can also hear the choice dregs and a whole bunch of other extras if you join our Patreon. Those are there for patrons. The dregs are what we cut out of episodes at the beginning. That's kind of our weird little warm up. And trust me, the conversation before this one was interesting.
I'm sorry.
I told a good story, a very, very good story. That's important. It's important because it establishes some.
It's a PSA.
The PSA. It really grounds the meaning of the entire episode is grounded there. Important DLC content. Go get it. But also check out many of the other fine podcasts on the Creative Horror Network if you can. Podcasts like Trick or Track and Darkly Lit and Midnight Marinara and The Witching Hour. And yeah, more to come.
And don't forget, we still have our cryptid writing contest.
Yes.
That we are doing joint with Animal Fact Files. You can read the rules on creativehorror.com. And the due date for that is July 4th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
we've had a couple submissions so far. I'm excited to read those when we get around to it. But we want more. Give us more.
Yeah, it's a little.
There are a bunch of creative types out there. Give us more.
Yeah. So it's a fun challenge, and from what I've heard from people, it's a lot more accessible than some of our older challenges.
Ain't that the truth?
So go for it, man. Go for it.
And any y'all want to plug anything else while you're at it? Resounding silence. Okay, that's great. Awesome. Glad we had this talk.
And now kids, it's time to talk. There should be a point. I'll tell you guys later about the time when I was at church. I was in a church group and they decided to show us a clip from Armageddon and try to ask us, how does that make you feel?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Hell yeah.
Sounds fun.
I'd
love to talk religion with everyone.
It is fun. It is surprisingly fun.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of creativehorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at creativehorror.com.